everyone, welcome back to the Glow Zone. Today I'm going to teach you how to make epilating sugar. So what sugaring is a way to remove your body hair without using wax, without shaving, without using laser, etc. So the way that this works and what differentiates it from all the other hair removal methods is it's makeup. It's made out of lemon juice, water, and sugar. What also makes it very different from other hair removal methods is it actually is applied against the direction of the hair growth and removed with the direction of the hair growth. So I'll show you a bit of a demo of that a little bit later in the video once I finish making all the sugar. But it's also a lot more gentle on the skin because it only adheres to dead skin cells and hair. No live skin cells the way that wax can, because wax can end up lifting some of your skin sometimes and kind of like increasing your chances of burning if it's not done correctly. Whereas with this, it's only to the dead skin. So it just gives you a nice exfoliation. Your skin is not very irritated after, and it's generally really suitable for more sensitive skin types. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you the process overall of making it, and I'll explain that as you're watching me do so. Okay, so I'll see you with my voiceover. Okay, so you just need 3 different things to make your epilating sugar here. You need a food thermometer. Here, this tells temperature in both Celsius and Fahrenheit, but I'll be using Fahrenheit today. Then I have a 1/4 cup of water right here, a 1/4 cup of lemon juice, and a full cup of sugar here. Okay, so getting started here, I'm going to combine these 3 ingredients in this pot, and I'm just going to stir it all together and allow everything to just dissolve and mix. I have this sitting on medium to high heat. I don't want it to be too high because controlling the temperature here is where it gets really, really tricky because you don't want to overcook your sugar and you don't want to undercook it either. So, as I said before, right here I'm just going to be stirring and bringing all these ingredients to a boil. Okay, so now the bubbles are getting started here. So we're just waiting for them to expand a little bit more and start getting more, sudsy looking, just like how they're starting to look here. And this is when we're gonna put in the thermometer. So what we're gonna do here from this point on, you keep that thermometer in the pot, not touching the bottom of the pot, but just enough to be submerged into the liquid. And you're aiming to get a temperature of about 240 to 250 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 115 to 123 degrees Celsius. Once it gets to that temperature, you want to cook it for maybe like 2 to 3 more minutes, and then you take it off the stove to allow it to start cooling. And I'll show you the rest of that process a little further on. Okay, so here we're in the temperature golden zone of 240 degrees to 250 degrees. And once I'm hitting the 250 degrees, I probably only left it on the stove for about 30 seconds and then took it off. So I'll show you why that's a problem shortly. Okay, so I really want you just to take note of the color and consistency of our sugar here. And what I'm doing here right now is like a water test where you kind of rapidly cool down the sugar just to kind of see what the overall consistency is. So when it's this light kind of goldeny color, it's unable to actually hold and form a shape because it's not sticking to itself. And you can see that here with me kind of playing with it and trying to mold it into a shape. I'm unable to do so.
Okay, so as you see here with me trying to smooth this on my skin, it is just going on like soupy slop. And this is partially because I'm cooling it down in water, which water dissolves sugar, so it does make it a little bit harder for it to hold steady and hold firm. But this is also evidence of this being an undercooked batch of sugar. So I threw this back on the stove and cooked it at 250 for a couple more minutes. Okay, so this is after I took it off the stove. Remember how I told you to take note of the color of the batch? That is a huge indicator of whether or not your sugar is cooked correctly. So now that I have this nice dark goldeny color, I know that this is probably a little closer to what I'm actually aiming for. And when I go ahead and do the same water test here, I'm able to see that this is a little bit better at holding itself together. Note how I don't have to knead and play with it as much. Obviously I still am because my hands are still dripping wet and everything, but as soon as I took it out of the water, it was already kind of a solid piece of like taffy, toffee, you know, candy. So that's perfect. That is exactly what I'm going for. So here I'm trying to smooth it onto my skin to show that it can lift off. However, my skin is still soaking wet, so it's obviously not sticking very well. But I basically just need to see that I can lift it in one solid piece. So at this point, I've allowed my sugar to cool completely, which is just a good safety precaution to practice to avoid burning yourself later. But I've warmed it up again in the microwave in 15-second increments so that it can warm up to be soft enough to smooth on my body here. I am also using a glove, and this just makes for easier cleanup later, but it is not a mandatory step. The first important thing to keep in mind with sugaring is making sure that you can work the sugar into a little ball or circular shape at the tip of your fingers so that it is easiest to maneuver and most in your control. So what I'm doing here is carving the sugar into my skin. So you do this by pushing the sugar against the direction of the hair, and this ensures that it will go into the follicle and around the hair to ensure for easier removal later. How to apply this is you have your fingers bent towards you in a claw-like shape, and towards the end of the strip, you flatten your fingers, lift, and pull. This is how you will remove it. Make sure that you keep the skin stretched to avoid discomfort and extra bruising later.
Really want to stress, be super careful. Start on a really tough, broad area such as your shin first, if this is your first time removing your own body hair, just because you want to start somewhere where it's okay if you kind of miss the stretching a little bit. You don't want to just immediately start on like an area with a dip in it, such as your underarms or, you know, your more sensitive areas, just because you can get stuck with this stuff, much like wax, and it obviously does not feel good to get off. Luckily, it's just made out of sugar, so you can dissolve it with water, but you still want to train and practice yourself a little bit first before you start going on to the hard stuff. So start with your lower legs to remove your hair, and then work your way up from there. Or, you know what, if you give it a try and it doesn't work out, you can always just save it for after the lockdown. This is just me just trying to help you out. But by all means, you don't need to try it. You don't have to do it, but I just hope that I'm helping you out and giving you some options anyway. All right, so with all of that being said, I hope that this video was really helpful for you and interesting. That is not the only way to apply and remove sugar. There's several other methods, which if you watch any other YouTube videos, as well as just look online, etc. You can also remove it with strips, so that much like how you would with regular wax, but you still apply it against the direction of the hair growth. That is what's most important. You don't need to use your hands or gloves. You can apply with a knife. You can apply with whatever. I just like to only use the same glob to remove the rest of my hair. That's why I just use my hands and just use one thing. Because if you are using a knife and whatnot, you do have to keep dipping back into there, which I don't really want to do. So anyways, yeah, I hope that this video was informative and it will help you out with you know, these lockdown blues and getting rid of your body hair, because since no one can really go see their esthetician, to help them, you know, tame the brows and such. As you can see, mine are also getting a little grown out, but I'm not going anywhere, so it's fine. But the rest of, you know, my body hair can be in check, and now so can yours. So again, I hope this video was really informative and useful for you. Thank you so much for holding on, because I know it's been a couple of weeks since I've been back. I just decided to take the holidays off. I will be back and posting every single week again, and I can't wait to see you all next week. Have an awesome, productive first start to 2021, and may 2021 be kind to us. Bye.